Scott, I'm with your daily Google News, and I already recorded a video on this topic, incidentally, but the audio in the video ended up being corrupted somehow. So forgive me if this is a repeat for you. In mildly old news, it's October 5th as I'm recording this, and this article came out September 27th. But I want to make sure that we have record of it somewhere for those of you that might go back and look later. But Google has changed the default attribution setting to data-driven. This is interesting for a bunch of reasons. The first, and I think maybe most important, is the fact that Google used to have a really significant threshold to being allowed to even use data-driven attribution at all. So you had to have enough data, effectively, for Google to want to be able to use data-driven attribution. So not only are they removing that threshold, which is actually kind of cool, I think, but then they're also making it the default. And that feels a little aggressive, for obvious reasons. So I think it's safe to say that everybody's going to end up being Google's guinea pig as they start to figure out how to use data-driven attribution for smaller spend campaigns that don't necessarily have the data that larger spend campaigns did. Now, of course, they've already gone through whatever alpha testing they've gone through, but in general Google fashion, I would anticipate that having been larger scale campaigns, and I think smaller advertisers might suffer from this a little bit. A couple of issues here, just so that you're aware. Data-driven attribution is really cool when it works. Obviously alongside smart bidding. The issue with it, though, is number one, data-driven attribution greatly favors the easiest acquisition targets for obvious reasons. So that means like brand traffic. In the new versus returning users, you're going to get more returning users. Google's going to go after the lowest hanging fruit. That is a problem strategically for a lot of advertisers, especially if you don't realize that they're doing it. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is data-driven attribution gives a view-through conversion a conversion action event. And I didn't say that well, but basically they're making view-through conversions look like they're actual conversion actions, and they're doing that from a data perspective because the whole idea being, we need to determine a value to attribute to this action. And I don't know that I necessarily disagree with them, but the problem with it is, especially if you're running multi-channel marketing campaigns, Google's basically raising their hand and taking credit for everything. It stands to reason that within the Google ecosystem, they'd be able to determine the relevance and or importance of a view-through conversion versus, other actions. And I would even give them the benefit of that doubt. But if you're running anything outside of Google, now that view-through action is Google reaching with both hands, potentially, effectively, especially if you have other remarketing campaigns in place. And then the last thing that I'll say to watch out for is the fact that data-driven attribution is going to split conversion values among various campaigns, obviously, because it's data-driven. So they're attributing the conversion to campaigns based off of their interaction. And so the problem with that is let's say you had 3 campaigns participate, and just to use round numbers, each campaign got a third of the conversion. Well, if you have a 300% ROAS assigned to campaign C, it's going to look like campaign C got 1/3 of the actual ROAS because data-driven attribution is spreading those conversion numbers around. So it's important that if you're going to use this, you drop your ROAS targets where applicable. So not the end of the world, but be really careful. The fact that this is the default scares me, to be honest with you. Like, it's funny because I posted this in our Slack, and then somebody, I won't say who, but somebody on our team said, God, I love this, more job security. And they said that, and it's not because we're celebrating the fact that a bunch of people's campaigns are going to get screwed up, but that's what's going to happen. A bunch of people who don't know how to use data-driven attribution are going to get stuck with it because it's a default, and then they're going to come running to us like, oh my God, what happened? And then we're going to help them fix it. So the attribution setting is important, critically important, and that's all I got. I'll include a link to this blog in the description of this video, and appreciate you all for watching, subscribing, commenting, all those good things. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know we actually know what we're doing. We shoot a video every single day, so if you want to be notified, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any input, don't hesitate to hit us up in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We get very little human interaction. Thanks for supporting our channel, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.